tomatoes with Bobby today. Today we're going to plant tomatoes, 50 of them. And I'm going to show you just exactly how we plant them. But first of all, I'm going to give you a little brief tour of what we got going in the garden this year so far. This year, we've rotated the crop, and instead of planting tomatoes up here, we've got peppers, 5 different varieties of peppers, from anything from sweet banana peppers to different color peppers, green, red, and whatnot, even some purple peppers. And I've got these peppers spaced 4 feet apart so that I can get in between them with my rototiller and keep the weeds down and everything nice. And over here, we've got our tomato cages. This is how we make tomato cages. We don't buy ones from the store like you usually get. We go get a roll of concrete wire. And what we do is we cut them with a pair of bolt cutters. And as you can see like that, we take and loop them around on the end so that they make a cage. Also, we take and put a piece of rebar that we fish through there so we can hammer it down in the ground. The reason we do that is so that when we put our cage in the ground and a storm comes or a wind comes, when the tomato gets tall up to the top, a little over 5 feet tall, the wind won't blow it over. So we're not going to put those in today, and I'll explain why here in a minute. Right through here is where we're going to plant our tomatoes. It's been raining all day. Actually been raining all month. So the garden is like a pile of mud right now. Everywhere you step, you're going to sink. Right here, I've planted carrots. It's the first time this year that we've done that. And I take a piece of rebar and I stretch a line across so that I get them in a nice straight row. We planted them in seeds. It's 2 different kinds. So I put a piece of a bottle on top of this, a Clorox bottle. The reason I do that is so that the kids that are out here playing or anybody's out here at night or whatnot, nobody's going to fall and get impaled on a piece of rebar. They'll actually be able to see it's there. So safety is a big thing. Here we've planted a row of eggplants, and down near the end of the row we've went from eggplants to okra. All the water in the garden rushes down at this end down here. So I like to put my stuff on hills down here. So what we have here is zucchini and squash. Actually 8 hills of zucchini and squash. And at the end down there I've got cucumbers. And you want to see how muddy it is. See that? So I made sure that I planted these yesterday before the mud came, before the rain got here and got it muddy. And this is what the zucchini plants look like. They'll take off. Again, zucchinis and squash. I believe this is a squash variety. Not sure kind of what kind. I don't really keep tabs on what I've got planted where. I figure I'll know what they are when they come up. Right here in this space, we're going to plant corn. And what I'll do with the corn is I'll plant one row this week and then another row next week. And then I'll wait another week and I'll plant another row. That way I continuously have corn. And we've got a really nice sweet variety of sweet corn. Over here, the way that I plant tomatoes is, you notice I got right here 11 plants per row. I've written it on the bottom of my bleach bottle. So I know that I've got them every 5 feet apart, and the reason I do that is so that I can get my rototiller around them really nice. We're not going to plant 120 plants this year like we usually do. We're only going to plant 50. So we're able to space the tomatoes a little bit further apart this year. And that way they're not really touching each other. And there's a nice way of getting around with the rototiller. The sun actually comes up over here and it sets over there. So all day long, I've got sun on my crop. So when I go dig my holes, I found the easiest way is to use a pair of post hole diggers. And Usually that's really easy, but today it's not going to be easy because of the mud that's going to be sticking inside of the post hole diggers. So what I've got here on my string is every 5 feet I've put a black mark with a Sharpie. So I know that I'm going to plant one here, and I've got another black mark right there. See it? So I know every 5 feet I've got a mark. Over here, it's another mark. So once you get your holes dug, what I do is, a lot of people will tell you to take the tomato plant and turn it sideways. And actually, we'll dig a trench across this way and lay the tomato down on its side and let the sun curve it up. Well, we don't do that. What I do is, I pluck the limbs off at the bottom and I plant it deep down in the hole. And the reason I do that is so it gets a nice root system. Also, I'll put a cup of lime, more like about a half a cup of powdered lime in the hole. And the reason I do that is because if I don't, I'll get blossom rot. Blossom rot is like a calcium deficiency. And the best way to fix that I found is to add lime, powdered lime. So I'll put a half a cup of powdered lime in the hole. What blossom rot is when you go to pick your tomato, you'll notice a big black spot or a brown spot underneath the bottom of it. And it'll start off looking great. You think you got a really good tomato, when in reality, one day you walk out and you look, and it's got a big old black spot on the bottom of it. And either you're going to have to cut it out, and you can't really keep the tomato that long, or it's actually going to show up on the tomato while it's still green. And blossom rot sucks. So you don't want that. So put some calcium in the ground, get some powdered lime and put it in there. That works real nice. A lot of times I'll take pelletized lime also, and I'll till it into the ground. And I'll do that. And then for a little bit of extra assurance, I'll put some powdered lime. And I do an organic garden, so we use a thing called marine cuisine, which is an organic fertilizer that's time released, so I only have to feed it twice a year. Actually, never ever water the garden unless it's a drought. And if I do water it, it's only a couple times during the year. And I like to do that because even though it may be dry on the top of the surface of the ground, there's moisture down deep in the ground, and the roots will follow that moisture and go down, and you'll get a nice root system. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this tomato plant up with my little shovel because I don't want to get my hands all muddy today. And I'll make my tomato hit the line, making sure that I don't cut the line. And a lot of dirt up around it. Putting dirt up around the stem of the tomato plant won't hurt it because it'll get roots all along that stem. Now, the next step, and we're not going to be doing it in this video, is we're going to take wet newspaper. I'll take newspaper and put it in a bucket and get it wet, and I'm going to put it around the bottom of the tomato plant. I'm going to do that before I put my cage down because it's really a pain in the ass to do after the cage is down because you have to reach through the wire. So I'll put wet newspaper down, and then I'll take my cage and I'll shove it down on the ground, and I'll beat the rebar down in the ground. And after that, I'll put some grass clippings over top of the newspaper. And what that does is it keeps the moisture in the ground. Your tomatoes love it. They'll go crazy. So I'm going to plant another plant. Right down in the ground like that. You don't want any of the limbs touching the ground. So I just kind of pluck them off and throw them down in the hole. Now because I plant so many tomato plants, usually I got like a little assembly line going. I'll be digging the holes, then another person will be coming behind me and dumping lime in the hole, and then another person will be coming behind that person, putting the tomato in the hole and covering it up. It's going to go really slow today though, however, because mud is sticking to my post hole digger. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to carry a piece of rebar with me. Either I can take the rebar and push the mud out of the post hole digger, or maybe I can just set it down on the ground and tap my post hole digger down on it. Now I don't want to cut my line, my string. If I cut the string, I got to start all over again, making a new string. Now to my next mark. I'm gonna get some lime. I figure this is a little more than a cup of lime, so I'm just putting like half of it in the hole. Or a quarter of it. No. The tomatoes are tough. You can yerk them by the stems and do all kinds of stuff with them. So you don't have to be all gentle. Nip these off. Throw them in the hole. I don't know if you can see it or not, but if you look up at a tomato plant, in between a branch, you'll see sucker leaves starting to pop up. And a lot of people will pluck them off so the plant's more healthier. Me, I don't do that. And it's just because I don't have time. But I still got a lot of tomatoes. I'll put the tomato in the ground deep. I'll take a shovel. Fill a hole in. Now after I do this all the way down this row, I'm going to do it 11 times. Then I'm going to take my tape measure and I'm going to measure over 5 feet. And I'm going to put another piece of rebar. And then I'm going to move my string over. But the next time, it's almost impossible for me to line up my little black lines. So I'm not going to pay attention to the black lines the next time. When I move the string over, it'll be 5 feet over that way. And then I'll come back over here like this. And I'm just going to kind of eyeball it and line it up with the plant that's in front of it. And we're going to do that until we're done.
And when I find that plug, all right. See you later, Bobby.
Again. So dump my tomato down in here. a lot of mud out here.
Notice I don't have no little tiny garden shovel like you see a lot of people. You don't want to play around. You want to think big. Use a big ass shovel. Get the job done. Don't take a little tiny flat bar when you're prying a bar off the side of the house. Get the big fucking crowbar. Get the big shovel. Post hole diggers. Again, 5 feet, there's my mark. Now cutting the line. Instead of tapping the post hole digger down on that piece of rebar, I think what we're gonna do is just use it to dig the mud out of the damn thing. So, need to get another tomato plant. Lime. Tomato plant. The deeper the better. Pluck the limbs off the bottom. Wait it in the hole. Mostly I plant big varieties of tomatoes because I like tomatoes. It's gonna make a sandwich, not a cocktail or a hors d'oeuvre. I like big tomatoes. You don't want your leaves touching the ground. And that's it. Basically, I'll keep doing that until I get all the way down at the end of the row. Then I'll plant another row and another row. And then when it dries up a little bit in a couple of days, I'll come out here and I'll put some wet newspaper around the bottoms of all these, and I'll set the cages. I'll take a rubber mallet and knock my cage down in the ground. And I'll take a steel mallet and drive my rebar. After that, I'll wait about a week or two, and then I'll feed them with some organic fertilizer, marine cuisine. Then after that, all I have to do is once every week or two come through here and till it up with my rototiller. My Poland front tine rototiller I had to fix the other day. Took the reels off of an old junk lawnmower and put them on the back of them because I broke mine up. And that's all it is to planting tomatoes. space, depth, lime, and eat the damn tomato. Make you a sandwich. This is the way I like to make my tomato sandwich, right? A little bit of regular old Little Debbie bread or Sue bread, whatever the kind of bread that is. You know, the one with the little kid on it. What's it called? What is it? Well, I don't know what kind of bread it is. It don't matter. You can put whatever kind of bread you want on your fucking tomato plant, right? Wonder Bread. Let's just do that. Let's simple way, the old school way. 2 pieces of Wonder Bread with some Duke's mayonnaise. You don't want no damn Hellmann's or none of that sweet tasting sissy shit. You want to get you some good Duke's mayonnaise and put some big crackle pepper on that bitch and maybe some bacon on the ass. But I don't like lettuce. Lettuce is for rabbits and for them salad eating bitches that like to eat that kind of shit. I like a BT, bacon and tomato sandwich. There's no L in my BLT. It's a BT sandwich, bacon and tomato. And if you really want to spice your shit up a little bit, you cut a little bit of onion and put on that shit, man, to get a little more crunch to it. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, stay tuned in the future for more of my informative tomato growing techniques. And Bob's Garden Special. Workers in? What? Yeah. Anyway, stay tuned for the future of Bob's Special Gardening Techniques, where I will let you see the progress of my tomatoes, and we will follow it in videos all the way up until the BLT without the L, the BT sandwich. That's it. And then, and I'll show you, I'll demonstrate too, also how to cut the tomato, and how to make other shit out the garden that we're gonna grow. And I'm gonna show you my special microwaving technique for my corn and shit when it comes out there. And I was like, so you don't have to put this shit in no pot or nothing like that and spend a bunch of time peeling and dehusking and silting and stuff. So stay tuned in the future for Bob's Special Gardening and Tomato Techniques. And make sure you subscribe to my channel for further videos. And hit the like button because you know you like this shit. And that's it.